Alright, welcome back to your Brigandine guide for AVRIL, who is now currently on my team as a Swordmaster in Mana Celestia Theocracy. Let's get into it today, but before that, let's roll the intro. And as usual,
stay triggered. Pew pew. Pew.
Alright, so let's look at AVRIL here. Let's see what he's all about. See if he's any good. This, that, and the other thing. Let's take a peek and look at all this stuff here. So you're probably looking at the equipment right now. Let me get back out onto units and we'll just take a peek at some stuff here. So you see this thing right here that I'm hovering over? It's a banana! Actually, no, it's a scimitar. But, I mean, you can call it what you want, I suppose. In the past, it used to be katanas and all that sort of thing. This is more of an Arabian sword, I believe. It's more of a scimitar type of weapon, but you get this, you get a medium armor, or a light, maybe I should say medium armor. Let's look at that. Doesn't really tell me a description here, but I want to say this medium armor. You get a gauntlet instead of a hat, so that's the other accessory gear you get, and the final accessory gear is a ring, so that's what you get for him. What is AVRIL all about? Let's look at his profile. Let's read this a little bit and just see what the man is about. So, he's a gender, male, age 36, class Swordmaster. This man, of few words, wields a sword and is a holy watchman. A Zai priest found him on the verge of death near the Morelvian border and managed to save his life. By all appearance, he seemed like a man responsible for many atrocities. Upon waking, however, the only things he remembered were his name and his skills with a sword. He uses his amnesia to make a clean break with his past and now fights for Mana Celestia Theocracy to repay the priest who saved his life. So, essentially, he might have been a bad guy. Now he's a good guy. That's cool. So, you don't really start with him as a Swordmaster. You start with him in a medium class of just a swordsman. And I've gotten him up to a Swordmaster. He is technically maxed out right now on my file here. You're probably wondering, is he good? Is he whatever? You know, I struggle a little bit with swordsmen's at the start because their defense is pretty squishy. It's actually just under, well, it's about the same as a knight. So defense-wise, swordsmen's are just kind of so-so, you know, not the greatest, not the worst. But 700 points is pretty good for the hit points there. Oops, I crossed out the attack. That's not good. Let me erase that. Many apologies. Before we get into it, though, if you enjoy this, help me out. You know, that'd be great. But the attack is 178, so attack is pretty good as far as what I would say. I'd put a little checkbox there for the attack. Defense, not the greatest. Really what you're looking at when you're gambling with this guy is agility and attack. So what you want to do is place a couple guys around him so he doesn't get flanked in any kind of way. Or if he's in a forest, you know, you pump up his other abilities to make him a little more evasive. And this guy will just go to town on enemies. I mean, he'll be really good for that. So can you frontline him? I'd say these particular characters are just glorified flankers. I couldn't really trust them fully in the front line as much as I'd love to promote that and say he's great at frontlining. You need to have guys around him in order to do well. But him on the flank, running around the flank in a forest, that's probably what you want to do. You probably want to fit him with a couple of hellhounds, something quick that can get through the forest, maybe wyvern, something like that. You can do pretty well with this guy. Command range is just kind of subpar, so it's probably a small team that you're going in with. Character growth, rune growth is just okay. It's nothing amazing, nothing bad. Now, the cool thing is, intelligence is at 90, which I like. So that's going to be kind of a boon. So there's some good things about him, some kind of meh, you know, stuff going on here. But what do you get when you get to a level 30 Swordmaster maxed out? You get Sidestep, has a 50% chance of dodging bow attacks. So this is essentially what you get in all the previous Brigandines, where you can just deflect the bow attack. It's pretty cool. Really good. So if you're going up against an archer team, essentially AVRIL as a swordsman would be perfect going into the Shinobi tribe territory. You know, if you kind of want a hint as to where to put him, because he can dodge the bow attacks, possibly, and then you just kind of get away with murder. quite literally. Next up, you got the critical rate up a B, increases chances of landing critical hits 15%, so you have a better chance of getting a crit with this. Pretty cool. Hit point recovery, you get this from being a knight. It's pretty good for him, especially with 700 hit points. What are we looking at? 3%. Did they change this? I feel like they did something here. Why is it... I don't know, I'm used to 5%. I don't know if they changed it or not or anything like that, but I'm used to 5 or 10%. Unless I really never really looked at what the swordsmen do for recovery. Well, that could be a thing, I suppose. Anyway, that's what you get with some of those skills. Here's all the rest of his skills that he gets here. Basic attack here is refined Fang Slash. Just attack the enemy around you. Normal attack. 135 power. Pretty decent with a green orb right there. Plus 11% accuracy. And then you move it up to this refined Iodo Blade. It deals massive damage to a single adjacent enemy unit. Now, this does cost 60 MP. And this is a pre-move. As you can see there, it is a nice whopping 185 power boost to your attack. It does give you a 1 extra dot of orb, but yes, 60 MP to do it. So you have to stand in place for a turn to do this. It'll do you well, and it also has a bonus accuracy modifier. Pretty good, pretty nice. I like it. All right, so let me look at the crossed out section here. So I'll look at that. All right, so Ido Flash. This is what you really, really want to save it for. You want to hit, I don't know, Tim, Rubino, maybe Stella, somebody like that with this thing. You can even do decent damage on Elsa if she doesn't parry with this. Even though she's a red dot, I know it seems a little crazy, but you can do it. And because it's 250 power, that is going to be quite nice. Plus, it's actually plus 15% over the 11% and orbs. And the really only big downfall here is that it is 140. So you do want to save up your MP for it. And considering, you know, if we come back here and we look at the previous page and we just kind of just look at this really quick, I only have 194 with this game file. I really don't put much into the swordsman class as far as potions and pills and stuff, so naturally you're probably going to be at 194 MP as well. Something around there, maybe. Maybe you get to 200, I don't know, but that's what I got to with AVRIL, and that's as far as I got with that. So 194, 140, you can only do this once. So if you got a big boss man you want to, you know, big boss woman you want to deal with, and you really, really want to deal with it, make sure you save up for that. Okay, now here's the one thing that you can do with these guys that are really cool. Swift Stance right here. Look at this. This is nice. Increases your agility for a limited number of turns. So this just cranks up your agility, and your agility, it determines your hit ratio and dodge ratio. So you can go frontline with this on. Make sure you're not surrounded, and then pump up a Swift Stance, which is not a pre-move. As you can see here, there's no pre-move in that space, so you can do it anytime. You can walk up to the front lines, boom, pop a Swift Stance. It only costs 25, and you can do it. And as you saw, I had a 194, so 140 and 25 would be 165. You could do this, you know, well, for me, I could do this with the other one time each, and then I could be very evasive, and I could give off an idle flash. So you got to think about how you're doing this. Really, when it comes down to the swordsman, think about it in your head and try to math this a little bit well, or a little bit better, because if you math well with these guys, you can do really well. Now, when it comes to the other tanks like Dark Knight, Paladin, Viking, or whatever, you're just going for either heals or damage. Here, Swordsman to Swordsmaster is a little bit of a refined play style. So it'd be like if I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV and I'm playing a Dark Knight tank. I have to refine how I play it and play it a little better. So if you like tanking and you know how to put the numbers together well, you can come out exceptionally strong using a Swordmaster. But if you don't want to think too hard, pick a different kind of knight. This one, you really have to think about how you want to use your swordsman or your swordsmaster, and where you're going to put them and how you're going to play them. Really, in the general sense, generally I would say just use him as a flanker, but if you can put him in a decent position and field him well, you could put him in the front line with a swift stance, pop an idle flash, hit the enemy, cut down something that's insanely powerful, and have a wonderful day. So that's really all there is to this guy. There's really not much more for me to say. It really comes down to you just playing your position well, knowing what you're going to do. If you can't have that and you just want him a frontline tanker and you want to do nothing but swift stance and then pop a couple refined Iodo blades, you can easily do that. 185 is pretty high up there. It's obviously not 250, but it's pretty high up there. Would say it'd be reliable. Maybe Idle Flash would be a little more reliable because it's plus 15 versus plus 11 up here as far as accuracies goes. But yeah, it really comes down to kind of having a love for this. I'd say that it's almost the same thing for the Dancer class in a sense, but I don't know. You let me know what you think down below. I'm very happy that you tuned in for this. And if you enjoy this video, you know, put some comments down below. Let me know why you like it.